Big man, in this one, we got the number 21 ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs on the road, laying doubles, laying 10 in Oxford. Looks like 58 the total. Does anything jump off the board at you as far as total or side looking to bet this SEC West matchup?
No, just because this is a tough football game because you have a team at Ole Miss that really just can't get a win. I mean, they've been scrappy in games, they're hanging, but now you're starting to see a number that's a bit more welcoming. I mean, a lot of these games they've been a favorite or a small dog. I mean, now they're getting double digit, and you look at their games. I mean, they lose by 7 to Vandy, lose by 14 to A&M, by 4 to South Carolina. They hung against Auburn, I guess you could say. They beat Arkansas. So they're hanging in these games. The problem is, you're facing a defense in Mississippi State that hasn't had a 200-yard passer in like 4 weeks. So again, they've been very good all year defensively. But the problem for Mississippi State is they're 1-3 against the spread on the road, Drew. They scored 10 points a game on the road. So yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence either way in this game. And Ole Miss is 0-7 against conference opponents, and they failed to cover in 16 of 22 against an opponent. So this is a real tough game.
It is. I mean, Mississippi State's defense is obviously the stronger unit as far as defenses go. But Ole Miss, I like their quarterback play. I really do. They can put up points. It's just so tough. They've lost, 8 of 9 ATS, big man. That's not a team, you can just kind of catch this falling knife and look to bet on. I'll tell you this, big man, as far as Ole Miss going forward, I think next year, the year after, I have them as look to bet on. I don't know how you feel.
Well, I definitely have them to bet on next year, but this year, you also have to remember this team can't make a bowl game. So the fact that they're 5-6 doesn't mean anything. They're still on a bowl ban. That will be going next year. But going forward, I agree. I think betting on, I would make a new hire if I were them. I would move on from Matt Luke. I don't know that I get that. I think he's a very Ed Orgeron type. I don't really know how good of a coach he is. If I'm them, I'd look towards, some of the, maybe a Jeff Collins type. I would look towards Jeff Collins if I were them. He has been absolutely fantastic at Temple. He's got a good defensive pedigree. He's already worked in. I mean, he's made them a good football team again. If I were them, I would maybe consider a new hire. Matt Luke's a nice interim guy, and I would definitely keep him on the staff. But as a head coach, I'm not sure I see it. I don't know that he's a leader. The guys like him and everything, but that doesn't always translate to winning. And in the SEC, if Ole Miss is going to get back to where they were 2 or 3 years ago, they're going to have to make a new hire if I'm them.
Well, I mean, what is it that you don't like? Because he's gotten the guys not to quit on the season. They like him, like you said. I'll give you that. He doesn't really look the part and isn't that great of a speaker to say. But other than that, I think he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, that speaking thing doesn't mean anything. Charlie Manuel was the Phillies manager for many years. He won a World Series. I mean, he couldn't even put complete sentences together. He had that Southern drawl, but I don't know. I'm not sure what Matt Luke can really. I don't know if he's a head coach. Again, he stepped in admirably, and to get this team to buy in is impressive. But I think you need to make a bigger splash higher if you're Ole Miss. Again, he's a good guy. I'm not knocking him. I would keep him around as the offensive coordinator, but I think if you got a guy like Jeff Collins in there, I think he could do a real nice job down there. But again, they might stay with Luke. And I don't know if that's a bad idea, but I think I would go a different way if I were them.
And guys, just to wrap up the Egg Bowl here, I mean, I'm not looking to really lay doubles on the road with Mississippi State. At the same time, I think, betting on Ole Miss is always a tricky thing. And it's late in the season with college football. It's a really tough thing to kind of get ahead of these betting markets and make money. I would actually venture you towards college basketball as far as the bigger bets in your bankroll. But looking at this game, if I had to bet it, I think this total's a little short. Obviously, wait for weather this time of year, but sitting at 58, Ole Miss really struggles to stop really anybody passing or rushing, especially rushing. And Mississippi State, they can run the ball on a lot of people, so they're going to be able to put the ball in the end zone, as will Ole Miss, with pretty much all of their talent being on the offensive side. So rather than laying doubles with Mississippi State, betting a bad team in Ole Miss at this point, I would lead everybody towards the over of 58. As far as the games we're talking, that's one of my stronger bets. Big man, we got
Yeah, and
heading out west.
one of
Oh,
the
yeah, finish it up on this one.
yeah, real quick, one of the commenters is saying who would want the Ole Miss job? What do you mean who would want the Ole Miss job? Everybody. It's in the SEC. Matt Luke makes $3 million a year. Jeff Collins makes like $1 million a year, and it's the SEC. What do you mean who wouldn't want that job? It's not
Yeah, that's kind of
Alcorn
crazy.
State. What do you mean who would want that job? I would. I think a lot of people would love that job. They're getting off sanctions. They're going to be fine again. They get great athletes. They always have terrific quarterbacks and receivers. I mean, I think it's a good little area, fertile wise, as far as Mississippi. You can recruit well down there. I would love that job if I was a coach. I would be all over it if I was a young coach.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with what you just said, big man. It's a great job. I mean, especially I've been to Oxford, Mississippi many times. I non-biasly, it's the most beautiful campus I've ever been to. I think it's the prettiest campus in America, maybe in the world. A lot
I've
of
heard that. I've heard
pretty
that.
girls. Yeah, it really is something. If you can get kids on campus, which you should be, it's in the South. You can recruit Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana. All of that is really fertile as far as Division I athletes go. So it's a
I'm gonna
top
be
job.
interested to see. I'm always interested to see what coaches move on, and what coaches are out there to you go out and get. And I think there are a lot of really good young coaches in the country, and even coaches that maybe coordinators. You look at a Ruffin McNeil. Will he ever get another shot as a head coach? I thought he was terrific in
Absolutely, he
East
should.
Carolina. You look at a
Yeah,
guy like some of these coaches. A guy like Matt Wells at Utah State. Matt Wells makes 900 grand a year. Matt Wells is a guy that has killed it over there for a year or two. He's a young coach. Neil Brown down at Troy, Scott Satterfield at App State. There's some really good young coaches, and will they make the right hire and will they make the right move? That's always a lateral thing. And one guy I think will be gone is Lovey Smith. I don't know how you can rectify keeping him around. I mean, Drew, Lovey Smith makes $5 million a year.
good for
I don't know
him.
if you
I
saw
mean,
Illinois. Illinois is a fucking mess, man. I mean, what an amazing joke. He makes more than Gary Patterson, Lincoln Riley, Mark D'Antonio, and Will Muschamp. Think about that.
wow. Hey, did you see Les Miles got the Kansas job?
I did, and I'm very happy with that. I've been very vocal about Kansas football and how I thought the Mark Mangino firing was a little bit not warranted. All the reportings of him being verbally abusive were somewhat unfounded. It was never really proven. And Mark Mangino was a good coach there, and they've really been mired in bad coaches for a long time, and they just kept giving bonuses out, and it was just weird. I really understand it, but Les Miles is a good coach. He'll come in there, he'll make them. I don't know if he'll make them a winner, but he'll do some good things there. He obviously wants to come back and coach, and Les Miles has been a great coach in his career. He's won a national title. He's not going to win a national title there, but it's finally nice to see them putting something into their football program. Can they go out and recruit? They're not going to get first, 5-star recruits, but I think they get 3 or 4. You go over to Independence Community College if he's serious. I mean, they got plenty of athletes there. They were on Last Chance U. He'll do fine there. Good for Les Miles. Good for Kansas for finally giving a shit about their football program.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to recruit, outside of Kansas as well, which in order to be successful at that job, I'm pretty sure you have to do. I will say this because Doug's was the person that brought up in the chat box who would want that job. He does bring up a good point, though, big man. You get a loss to Alabama every year. It's in the SEC West. I think the head coaching jobs in the SEC are more attractive in the East just because it's a little less tougher to get
Yeah,
wins. You got to play 6 other teams in your division that are all really good. That is one good point to the Ole Misses of the world not being
but again,
as
it's not.
attractive as a job.
But I think that's sad that in football nowadays we just basically assume that if you face Alabama, you're going to lose. Because I don't know if people remember, but a few years ago, Hugh Freeze and Ole Miss were the #1 team in the country. It's not impossible. We need to stop acting like I know Alabama's good, but nobody goes into the season thinking that's an automatic loss. No coach thinks like that. No program thinks like that. And if they do, they'll be fucking out quick. Nobody thinks like that. I know we want to believe people do, but you're always going to give it. You're always going to try to beat Alabama, and Ole Miss has beaten Alabama. It's not been. It's not like they've lost every game in the history of facing them. I get the point, but look, I think an Ole Miss job is still very coveted if you're a young coach.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.